Now we've got a player from, was it the Bundesliga? From what, one of the bottom
Right.
teams that was struggling?
To
It's
be
great,
fair,
mate.
though,
It's been a great week.
let's face it, Caicedo isn't going to work out over the 8.5 years of his contract at Chelsea. Just a
Eight and,
hunch.
8.5 years.
Do you know, I don't think him or Lavia. What Lavia got a 7-year contract, didn't he? I don't think it's going to work.
The thing
Here,
is,
hold on. Dave's on. You're right,
But
mate.
That's all right. Yeah, we're already live, guys. We're already live.
Oh.
How's everybody doing, man?
Doing good.
You know what? Aside
Yeah.
from the fact that looks like we've definitely pulled out of going for Paqueta, I'm pretty happy. It's not been a bad week.
Yeah, it's absolutely been a crazy week of transfers. I cannot believe how wacky the transfer season is right now. It is absolutely bonkers. Drew, what's going on? How's your week, bro?
Well, we've won another trophy, but I don't know if it's now. As we know, I've been quite disingenuous about the validity of certain trophies, and this is one of them that.
Happy to have.
I don't give a rat's ass, to be honest. It's a friendly against.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to Sevilla, but I mean they're about 10th best in La Liga. I mean they're in Europe.
Bit harsh, isn't it?
They're well, no. Last year they finished 15th in their own league. They're playing in Europe because they won the UEFA Cup, well, Europa League. Which I'm not going to say that it's easy to win the Europa League, but
we'll find out this season.
Well, when you put when you put all of your eggs in that one basket, which is clearly what Sevilla done around about last December when they were in the bottom three, it's a little bit more difficult to put them up there with the best teams in their own division.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. Neil, how you doing, Neil? What's going on, mate?
What can I say? I mean, Chelsea messed us up, and then we've gone for this Chinese, Japanese, whatever he is. This guy, he's actually supposed to be quite decent, but we're talking about the Premiership now. Yeah, a totally different league. Yeah, he's 30. Yeah,
that's nuts.
I don't know. I really don't know. We'll have to see how he fares in the first 10 games. And I have to say 10 games because he ain't going to fare well in the next 2 or 3, to be honest, because he's still kind of trying to get used to the league, right?
That's correct.
So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We'll see, man.
Although, if anyone from Chelsea is actually watching, Liverpool have offered me $1 million a week. Just saying.
No. We've done that because we're hoping. We know that Chelsea are actually going to come in for you.
I mean, it's a move that they should have made years ago, quite frankly. So, I mean, I too was a defensive midfielder. I too could feel that one position that they seem to have signed 4 players for in the past year.
You could have saved them a lot of money as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, 40-year-olds with a gammy leg, there's not many of us knocking about, quite frankly.
Unbelievable. Dave, how you doing, Dave? What's going on, mate?
I'll let them have their little chat, you know. I mean, Neil's a bit upset, isn't he? He's a bit upset. He's feeling the type of way from
Do you know, right? Do you know, right? You're right. I'm a little bit upset over the transfer, right? And I'm not upset with Chelsea. I'm upset with Liverpool. That's where I'm upset, seriously. Yeah, we should have wrapped up. We should have wrapped up the Lavia one. I mean, you're messing about with what, 4 million? Yeah, Chelsea came in. Yeah, but Chelsea came in, right, upped it to 48. We were still messing around, and then all of a sudden we got this money and goes for Caicedo. If you was Lavia, honestly, if you was Lavia, right, Liverpool are kind of chatting to you, making you feel good. Yeah. You know, making you feel really good, and all of a sudden they just kind of put you on the shelf and go for someone else, right, for double the money that they're trying to get you for. Would you want to go to Liverpool?
But then
you feel like second rate. You feel like second rate, though. I mean, personally, myself, I would have told Liverpool where to go, and I'm a Liverpool fan. Yeah, no, you can't treat people like that. You can't treat people like that.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is according to the players' agents that came out and were talking is London had a big thing to do with it as well.
I get that, but
yeah.
what I'm saying is that we practically had him, yeah. But what? Four bids.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then the last one is 10 million more than what the original bid was. Why don't we just pay that in the first place, or just pay the 50 mil? Because that's what they were looking for, right? Pay the 50 mil, get the player, done, business done. But no, they're messing around, man. They're messing around, too much.
We done the same thing with Caicedo. The only difference is we ended up with him.
No. But you lot were tapping up Caicedo for a good at least 3 months. Yeah,
I think
you were talking to him. You were talking to him for a very long time. We weren't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
they
put a bidding for Caicedo before we did.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. You guys were tapping him up, right? Not tapping him. You were talking to him. Yeah.
Ooh,
right?
Tapping him up.
I know. I got to watch what I say. I got to watch what I say, right?
Yeah.
So you
don't get me started on this tapping up business with Thomas Tuchel and his crap this
week. You guys were talking to him for 3 months, right? So Caicedo, I can understand why he would want to go to Chelsea, why he would want London over Liverpool. I get that because you guys you're making him feel good. You're making him feel wanted. Yeah. Then we tried a sneaky one. No, but we tried a sneaky one. Come on, we tried a sneaky one, right? But what made that backfire is that the Lavia thing. We should have just gone for Lavia. If we wanted to try and mess you lot up, get Lavia and then try and mess about with Caicedo. But we didn't. We put Lavia on this. We put our thoughts on him. We put him on the shelf. He was on the shelf while we were trying to get Caicedo. And the thing is, what we bid for Caicedo, we could have got Lavia. Yeah, and that's what I'm upset about. That we just looked stupid because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
it's like that's why I'm upset.
Listen, if you listen to Jurgen Klopp's press conference today, he was just in all sorts. He was like, he was
peed off, man. He was peed off.
He was like, we don't know how they're doing it. Chelsea has spent 964 million since Todd Bowley took over the team. That's nearly $1 billion, and he's just like he's got his hands up saying, "I don't know how they're doing it. We can't operate like that." And as long as they're allowed to do what they're doing, we
know how they're doing it. Yeah, and the thing is, what nobody's saying, which I'll say, is that Chelsea sold a bucket load of players as well.
Yeah,
they got a lot of players off their wage. Right, that's why they can do it.
The thing is, though, you look at the sales they've had. The sales aren't covering those transfers, but what Bowley's done.
Yeah, but he's earned over 200 million. I'm going
to give UEFA and the Premiership credit here. They're trying to close the loophole, so to speak. But
why?
The loophole was wide open.
Yeah, but
what Bowley's come in and done is actually smart business.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't get. I mean, he's found a way of being able to get a whole load of players for a whole load of money and spread that cost over 6, 7, whatever how long the transfer is per player. Yeah. Personally, I don't see what's wrong with that.
Hold on, guys. Let's hear from Dave. Dave, let us get your thoughts on that, and then we'll talk about the results.
Again, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you look at Caicedo and he looks like he's going to be a player. Conversely, you then look at Mudryk, and you think, is he going to hit it off? Is he going to? So we could end up with one good asset there on a 6-7 year contract, where the payments are all spread out, and then we've got another player who could be a massive underperformer that we've now got to either try and get up to speed, sell, or hope somebody stupid enough to potentially come in and bid for him. So it's you can say it's smart business, but only if that player's right and performs. And also, another thing that people don't factor in is if a manager changes and then that gaffer goes, I want to bring in my players now, you're now stuck with an asset there that's potentially on a 6-5 year deal, maybe if 2-3 years passes by. We know how players or managers like to bring in their players as well. So, it's not as... I know right now it seems like, how are they doing this? Or more of a case of, they're buying all these players. But in January, we've done the same, and then we still needed to bloody rebuild. It's not like it's,
but in January, when you guys bought those players, that was Bowley just just doing
it's
this.
stupid.
I'll have him, without realizing how it's going to affect him financially and affect the team.
I mean, they still need a striker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jackson was all right. I told you about Jackson. He's not bad.
Yeah. You did,
I'll be fair. Jackson looks like a bit of a player. He's just missing one vital thing for a striker. He doesn't look like he scores goals, but he looks like a hell of a player.
I mean, I think.
But saying that, there was a time where we looked at Thierry Henry and thought the same thing about him when he first came to England, and that panned out all right in the end.
Yeah,
so
I mean, give him time. Like this is, I mean, how many players? Like, not every player's a Haaland. Like, not every player's going to come in their first season and smack in, 30+ goals. Like, give him time. Like, Drogba's the same, Henry's the same. They're all players that may, score 15 goals, but go, actually, his upside's really good, and he might come on towards the back end of the season. And then next thing you know, that's when they make the big leap, didn't they, to be an elite striker potentially.
Yeah. So, guys, let's talk about the results straight away. We already spoke about this last week in a way, didn't we, Drew? But just want you to cover it off, what your thoughts are on that win. Again, I know we already talked about it, but just smooth over it for us.
Great win. Bit of a shitter, to be honest, because it looks like we've lost De Bruyne until mid-December now.
Yeah.
So
gives the rest of the league a chance, right?
I think so.
Well, well, there's nothing giving Liverpool a chance at the moment. Unless Chelsea change their transfer policy and let you actually get someone.
I mean, it's the same thing I said last week. We had 10 players injured at an average of 2.5 months. That's the length. We were just fighting with all of that. But City didn't have much injuries last season.
Oh no, we did. We lost De Bruyne for 3 months. We lost De Bruyne for 3 months of the season in total. If you factor in every small injury that he had, we lost De Bruyne for 3 months of a 9-month season. We're going to be missing him for the same amount of time this year. But with the players we've moved on, I've actually got a little bit of hope about it in terms of I think we might see Foden move into the 10 role. It could be a blessing in disguise for England having De Bruyne around. It's going to be a little bit squeaky bum time for City, I think, because of it. But for England, I think this might actually be a positive because I think we're going to see Phil Foden playing his most natural position. So there could be some good come of it for City and for England.
Yeah. Any of you guys want to chime in on that result? It's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
It was, to be honest. I'm surprised it was as low as 3-0, to be honest. I actually thought that City were just going to wipe the floor with them. I mean, Burnley put up a good account in the first half. Well,
can I just point out our aggregate score over the last 11 games is now 47-1.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Has anybody else done that? No, nobody else has done that, to be honest. I don't think.
They're not letting goals in. That's the thing,
Yeah.
They're not letting in goals.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is just against Burnley. We are 47-1 against Burnley.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just ridiculous. I mean, to score that many goals and only get 1 goal in reply.
Can I point out as well, though, it was a hell of a goal.
Yeah. Give him that.
I mean, I think as well, like, give Burnley credit. I know you're going to go 3-0 and you're going to look at the scoreline, but if they had a bit of quality, it could have been a game. Like, especially in the first half, it could have been a game if they had a bit of quality. But that's, first game of the season as well. They're at home. Their crowd is a bit hyped. You've got all, JJ Watts at bloody Burnley Turf Moor. It's an exciting game for them. So.
Maybe I've been watching a different game, right? But
I was thinking during the game, though.
Don't you think that Burnley, even though they didn't have the quality, they still played very similar to the way City play? I wonder why that is.
Yeah, well,
it's because our next manager is currently their manager.
Company he's taken everything he's learned from Pep, and that's how he managed to get the team back up when he came in.
The one thing I would say, though, I would actually have given Burnley a shout of nicking some, well, not a point or anything out of that game, but I'd given them a chance of nicking a goal if they'd managed to get Nathan Teller on a permanent deal from Southampton.
Yeah,
Because that was the big difference between them in the Championship and them against City last week.
Yeah.
They didn't have anyone to run off the back of the last defender, which Teller was very good at doing. I mean, just a lack of mobility in their front line was their major issue. If they had that one person that could run in behind and cause a few problems for us, it could have been a different game to watch.
So, guys, just want to cover off Arsenal's win at Nottingham Forest. I was there at the Emirates. It was a really good day. A little frustrating for some fans. Some fans leaving that score line like we lost, and I'm not actually sure why. A lot of frustration in the fan base because Havertz and Rice are going to have to see their way through, next couple of 4 or 5 games to try and integrate them in the system. But I thought both played well anyway. So there's a little bit of a criticism out there in the fan base. I think it's unwarranted. It was sad news for Jurrien Timber, who suffered an anterior cruciate ligament. He'll be out for 6 or 7 months. A real shame as well. Real big blow for him and the team. It's a real shame. Can't really say much about that, although Zinchenko is back for the next game. And obviously David Raya is on the team now, and that's going to lift everybody, although Ramsdale is still the number one. So, really good win. Is
he still the number one?
Well, of course. He hasn't done anything to lose the job.
Depends on what you read, right?
I mean, I'd probably take the goalkeeper that had the better record last season. Just saying.
I think I think he's number one, and it's his job to lose. So if he plays badly, look, there's no change in the philosophy with any other position. If a midfielder doesn't play well, he's replaced. If a striker's not performing, he's replaced. If defender's not been playing well and letting in goals, he's replaced. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with the goalkeeper position being the same way. And not a lot of teams have got that option to change them. Go on, Dave.
I think that's a different. Being a keeper myself, I like to be number one and know that I'm number one. If that makes sense, and I've played at half decent level. I think when you've got somebody who's again kind of on par with you and sniffing down your neck, it's just that one position that you kind of don't really want anybody else to touch. I think it's almost like if you've got a striker who's, for example, you've got Haaland. Not that you'd be bothered by this anyway, because he's amazing. But if you go and buy another player, maybe let's just say like Lewandowski, that kind of that it's almost like unwarranted pressure where you're like, well, he's going to be our main striker. Why do you need to go out and get somebody of the same quality? And I think that could unsettle Ramsdale a little bit. Again, that number one jersey, that number one shirt it's kind of sacred to keepers. That's you want to be known as the number one. And if you're kind of going, right, I want competition every area of the pitch, it's just a bit. Yeah, I wouldn't be a fan of it. I wouldn't be a fan of it. Like if it was my team or if I'm Ramsdale, I'd look at it and go, he's not sure of me. I don't know why he's not sure of me. I made a couple of blunders last season, but for the most part, I thought he had a good season. So why are you going out and getting somebody like that when we've got other areas of the pitch that we probably need to concentrate on potentially? So,
yeah, I think the answer to that in the main frame is look what happened to Jurrien Timber. If that happened to Ramsdale, we'd be screwed.
Yeah, but most of the teams, when you look at most of the teams, they have a number one in their keeper, and the second choice in a lot of teams isn't really a second choice.
Exactly.
When you think about it, because that second choice will never get played or never hardly plays any games. They're fortunate. What they'll get is they'll get cup games. Yeah, but when it comes to
some of them won't. Most of them won't.
Yes, it depends on who's being played as well. Who the opposition is. If the opposition is like a few leagues below, then they'll get a run in. But if it's someone who can actually knock you out that particular competition, your number one keeper is there. That's the one position that hardly changes through when you look at most teams.
Yeah,
I think Ray is probably a first choice goalkeeper in 18 other Premiership teams.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, if I was a keeper, would I want someone who is on my level, or in fact the only goalkeeper in the Premier League to have a better save ratio to shots on target last year? Would I want that person behind me in the no, I would
Not
not
really.
want that guy
Yeah,
behind me
yeah.
in the order.
That could put too much unnecessary pressure on him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Arteta summed this up yesterday in his news conference. He said there is no starters. He said there's no starters on the team.
It's different
So-
for keepers. It's so
Yeah.
different. I can honestly, that would have. It's either going to go one or two ways. Ramsdale is either going to put a rocket up his, you know what, and he's going to go right. Okay, I'm going to battle for my position. Or two, he is going to feel the pressure in these next games. He's going to start making slight errors or maybe not doing the right things. And then it could all go. And the thing is, Ramsdale hits so many, quotas as well, that you want. It didn't make any sense to me. It doesn't now. But yeah.
So, guys, let's move on quickly to West Ham Bournemouth. Not a lot to really say about this. I think that was the result that many of us thought it was going to be.
Can I go back to the Arsenal game as well? Sorry. Just on that slightly.
Yep.
Because watching Havertz, and I know kind of you said, I get Declan Rice, but Havertz, for me, watching it, it's the same kind of Havertz that plays at Chelsea. And I think people are looking at Havertz like he's going to be like a Xhaka / Odegaard, or like a try and be like another Odegaard, but towards the other side. He's nowhere near Odegaard's class.
No.
Odegaard he plays forward. He always tries to play forward. He tries to be exciting. Havertz, watch him. I was on the phone to my mate who's an Arsenal fan. I went, look at the difference in quality. Havertz always goes backwards unless he's got space in front of him. Odegaard will always go forward. He'll wiggle out of a challenge somehow or wiggle out of trouble and will play forward. And to me, Odegaard's a joy to watch. And he's one of those players that, wrap him in bubble wrap, keep him healthy, do what you need to do because he's so key. He's probably one of my favourite players to watch, like just in general in football at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Havertz is nowhere near him, and if you're hoping Havertz is going to be another Odegaard, Arteta's going to have to seriously coach him. But Havertz has the talent. It's just whether he wants to or can do it.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Watching the game, I thought Havertz had a good game, actually. Especially in the first half. I thought he was really strong, his performance. And what he does really well, getting into open spaces, being creative, his movement, that's the key factor in his play. That really helps us out a lot. But I do agree with you, in order for him to catch where Odegaard is, that's gonna be
I don't know
that's
if
the
he's
key.
that
That's the
creative
plan.
though. I don't know if he's that creative. I don't look at him and think that's an intricate pass that that Odegaard sees, for example. And there was a couple that I saw Odegaard and I was going, how's he doing that?
I think it's about.
But
his
he's at a different team now.
space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's at a different team now, so he has to learn to play a different way. He's got different players that he's got to learn to play with.
Yeah, it's going to take him a bit of a time. It's going to take him a bit of time, but I definitely can see what the plan
It'll
is.
take him a season. It'll take him a season before you see how well he does at Arsenal.
So, guys, as I said about West Ham Bournemouth, pretty much we're kind of.
Snooze fest, man. That was a snooze fest.
It was, but
the
Neil,
thing is, either team actually could have won the game.
Right. You and Dave got that prediction right.
Yeah, either team could have won that game, but neither team seemed to actually want to win the game.
That's right. For West Ham, they've got Ward-Prowse now, and they've got Edson Alvarez, so they're both available for this weekend. But at least they got Prowse. I can't believe they paid the amount of money they did, but they're desperate now, aren't they, West Ham?
They're not.
They need a striker.
Yeah, they do.
I actually think 30 million for Ward-Prowse isn't bad business at all.
Yeah,
it's like on average, it's kind of like it's like what you'd expect to pay for him, but it's not like I think considering he's at a relegated club.
He's one of the players in out of the relegated teams that you would have expected that a Premier League team to snap him up. Him, Maddison, those sort of players.
Yeah. The thing is that I find crazy. I'm not bashing Arsenal here. I'm really not. But if you're going to buy Declan Rice for over 100 million, then I don't think Ward-Prowse at 30 million is ridiculous business in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not bashing Arsenal when I say this, but you will never convince me that Declan Rice is £100 million plus player.
Yeah, I think after seeing what Caicedo and Lavia went for, I think Arsenal got a good deal with Rice. The Rice deal starts to look a little bit more solid now after I see the money that they paid for him.
I'm not going to roll Lavia into that because I'm just going to put it out there. He's going to be the best signing of this transfer window in time.
I think though the important thing to know
for that
is
money.
Once one player sets the benchmark of the transfer window, it's difficult to then not pay it. So as soon as you go and get a defensive midfielder, you know, who's 100 mil, that sets the benchmark for every other team in the league or in the world, really, to go, right, if you want a player like that, cough up the dough. I mean, we're seeing the Palace player. The Palace player, check Decore, potentially linked with Liverpool, isn't he? For like, you know, 60 mil now. So, yeah, the market's going to go back for it.
It's a seller's market. This season, it's a seller's market. If you don't stump up what they're asking for, you're not getting the player. Unless they
and speaking of sellers, Brighton 4, Luton 1. What's your thoughts on that one, Drew?
It was sad times for my hometown. First game back in the big leagues, and we got absolutely dicked. But no, Brighton they're going to continue just to tick over, and they're just going to continue to win games and just be around the 6th, 7th best team in England. There was nothing Brighton done badly in that game, but they didn't do anything brilliantly either.
They've lost quite a few key players, right?
Yeah,
from the transfer window, but they still seem to make results like this because Luton will go against a higher team and not get spanked like that. Yeah, Brighton just had this way of just turning out results, and they've lost key players, and they're still turning out the results.
Well, the thing that's always got me with Brighton.
Hats off to the manager.
The thing that's got me with Brighton, in particular since De Zerbi came in, is they've made Danny Welbeck actually look like a serviceable Premiership player.
Yeah.
At no point in his career has he looked like a serviceable player.
Yeah, I mean, remember, he got into the England team. He was, I think he's got about 19 caps for them.
So did Owen Hargreaves, and trust me from watching him run around like a headless chicken at City, Owen Hargreaves was never an England international. Just saying.
Yeah, I like Welbeck. He works hard. He doesn't score enough goals for me, but he works hard. He presses. He tackles. He's good in the air. He does all the things right. But you've
basically just described Emil Heskey.
Yeah. He's a labourer. And I saw him come on for Arsenal, give us a lot of energy, but he's just not clinical. He misses a lot of goals. I mean, the difference between him and someone like Eddie Nketiah is night and day because Eddie scores goals. And Eddie runs down defenses, tirelessly presses. I mean, it's not even close, really. It's not even close. And Nketiah is only 23, so I think Nketiah's got 5 goals now in his last 10 starts for Arsenal since Jesus was out. That's a pretty good record for a striker.
Yeah.
My thoughts on Brighton. Look, I think Luton didn't have a chance in this game. I think the game was a bit too big for them. Dave?
Yeah, same. I think it's difficult when I think Brighton are just going to continue to kind of like churn over and just they're going to. It seems like they've got players in reserve, or they're not bothered by. It's just going to be chopping, buying players, and things are ticking for them at the moment. I do think they'll come slightly back down to earth at some point. I just don't know when, if that makes sense. They're not going to keep this up.
Yeah, talk to me, Drew, about Fulham. A couple of you, like Andy, Drew, and Dave, Webby got this one right. I didn't think it was going to be an away win, but
really
Everton are definitely in trouble.
Everton are just carrying on where they left off, literally.
To be fair, actually, Everton were the better side for very long periods in that game. But I mean, when you're relying on Neil Maupay to finish off the chances for you, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
I mean,
they should have been addressing the Calvert-Lewin thing
He's back tomorrow. He's had his paternity leave now.
Yeah, but do you know what? If he goes off injured,
kids,
if he goes off injured again, they still haven't got someone as good as him. And you can see they rely solely on him to score goals. There's no plan B.
I mean, considering that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
It's the first season,
no plan.
and we're talking again about Calvert-Lewin being injured, and they've done nothing to
nothing to address it.
They've got no plan B. There's no plan B. It's just plan A.
Sold Richarlison for 60 million to Spurs.
What happened to that money? Did it just go on paying off the money that they'd splurged on other players in the past?
I think.
Has it just gone to settle their debts? Because
I mean, when they sold. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I think they got 40 million for one player, and then they got 60 million for him. So that's 100 million, and they've just not reinvested it.
Yeah.
They've just not reinvested it. It's a shame when you think when Carlo Ancelotti took over that team and they just had some stunning talent. And I like Onana. I like their midfield. I think their midfield is really, really tough to play against. But they just have not.
Aren't United looking at him now?
Yeah, they are.
Well,
I mean,
to be fair, their midfield, you compare it to every team from 8th down to probably 16th in the table, they've probably got the strongest midfield overall per player.
Yeah.
But defensively, they're all over the shop, which, considering the amount of international players they got in their defence, is alarming. And goals, they can't score. They cannot hit a cow's ass with a banjo.
Yeah,
they are appalling in front of goal.
And it doesn't get easier. They got Villa this weekend, Dave.
Yeah. I don't think Everton were, like, again, to Drew's point, I don't think they were that bad. It seemed like they kind of had a lot of energy, but it's the goal situation.
Yeah, but the energy's not going anywhere. There's no point having loads of energy in midfield if you haven't got anyone to finish off those moves.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing is, if they had, say, I can't remember what I'm going to say this. Remember Brian McBride that used to play for them?
Yeah.
Ironically, play for Fulham as well. If they had someone like that, I mean, not necessarily a goal scorer, but someone who can do that work in the box, they could have scored 3 or 4 goals. Because they were getting into these positions where all they needed was a 9 or a 10 just to create the final moments for them. But they couldn't do it.
And see, you know what frustrates me, guys? Like today, Arsenal got a phone call from Chelsea and from Spurs for Balogun. And you'd think to yourself, I mean, to be honest with you, as an Arsenal fan, you're not going to really cry about selling him to... yes, he might turn out to be a wonder kid and a brilliant striker, but 50 million... you're not going to play him this season, so you might as well take the money and look at it as a gain. But there are some teams out there, like West Ham, that are just begging for a striker. Fulham, both these teams actually could do with a Balogun, and you just have to wonder. It's like just pay the money and get the guy in and let him score goals for you. How are they struggling at this point in the season? When the guy is there, he's available. It's not 100 million like most of these other deals or young strikers that are available. Maybe they're afraid that that's what it's going to turn into as soon as they go for the player. Yeah.
I mean, remember, it's a seller's market. It's no longer a buyer's market.
Yeah. Chelsea would play that without a problem.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if I think Balogun and Dyche are going to be a dream team. So I mean, it's
we leave Sean Dyche alone on this show.
Guys, what about Palace and Sheffield? I mean, that one was pretty run of the mill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think most of us got that right. I think the only one that got that score wrong was Andy, but we were pretty much all bang on the money on that. Palace.
Can I just say, best moment of the game is when the Sheffield United fullback squared up to Roy Hodgson and realised who the hell it was.
Yeah. That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
I will mess with anyone, but not that psychotic. No.
Yeah.
And the look on Hodgson's face as well. I've
never seen him so enraged.
It was
ready beautiful.
To go, mate. You know, if that was round the corner, Hodgson would have taken him out. The cameras was there, so we had to kind of refrain himself, you know.
Can we just point out though? Obviously, Palace this week managed to perform, I think, a minor miracle with it was Elise, wasn't it?
Elise, yeah.
They've got him to sign a 4-year extension.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts.
I mean, he had the opportunity to leave. It was there.
It was, it was. But
I'm just going to say, and this isn't a dig at Chelsea now, just so everyone knows, his advisors are clearly in it for the player, not any form of money for themselves.
Yeah,
they would have got a wad from this extension. They would have done, but
but to be honest,
they could have made more from manufacturing him a move to City or Chelsea because we were both in for him.
But had he gone to Chelsea, would he have got straight into that first 11? How many games would he have got?
No, he wouldn't have got into Chelsea's first 11. He wouldn't have got into Man City.
That's what I'm saying. So that's probably why he's decided to go. Do you know what? I can go to these teams and get the money, but is that going to do anything for my career?
This is what I say. I think he's actually had good advice around him.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be Parish as well.
Someone's clearly said to him, "You're not getting into those first 11s."
Exactly.
Another year at Palace.
Like, let's have it right. Like, obviously, he's pictured with the handshake when he's signing the contract. That could have been the chance to say, "Listen, you go if you want it." However, you know, are you getting into this side? Are you going to be playing regular football? I've just got rid of, we haven't got Zaha anymore. You're going to be our talisman for this team. You know, sign another contract. I'll give you a bit of bumper money, and then see where it takes you. You do well this season, you get even more money probably. So and I think it's right for him for his development. If take my club aside, it's right for him because he's going to be playing. He's been playing every game for Palace, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. Well, that's it. He's going to be able to develop a lot better at Palace than any other team in the league at the moment. He's already got the position. He's going to get the game time. Yeah,
I think for them,
he'll be fine.
It's a good
and
move
he'll improve
for Palace
from it as well.
Because they've already lost Zaha, and when you think about, they haven't really lost too many other players. So for the team, it's quite positive because they're showing now, look, we're going to hang on to what we've got. I think for them, if Liverpool want Decore now, they're going to have to pay a minimum of 90 million. And it makes you wonder about Liverpool. Why didn't they just buy Bellingham? The money was there in the first place. Because now
this is what confused me with the Caicedo thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, Bellingham wanted to go to Liverpool. Liverpool has sounded him out. He was up for it.
Yeah.
But Liverpool thought the price was too high.
Yeah.
He's gone to Real Madrid for 120 million.
But that's the owners. Yeah. That shows you that the owners don't know what they're doing or know what a player is worth. They're not willing to put their money behind a player like that. They've always we've always done the sell to buy a player, right? And every now and then, the owners of all teams will put a little chump change in to kind of top it up. Yeah. FSG aren't interested in that. They're not. They want Liverpool to run as its own business. That's what they want. They don't want to put any.
Who did they sell then to justify the Caicedo offer?
Oh,
Jordan Henderson didn't make you like that.
No. Henderson was 30 and Fabinho was 40. So Fabinho and Henderson made up just over half. So that's why they were able to go for him.
I'm just going to be honest. I'd rather have put myself in debt to get Bellingham.
Yeah, me too.
Do you know what? Yeah, but we're talking.
It's no disrespect to Caicedo now either, because he is a good player. But if you said to me that him and Bellingham were worth the same, I would laugh at you.
No.
It's no disrespect to Caicedo. He is good, but he's not that good.
I would never say that, but as I said, the owners are not going to take that risk with money. Yeah, if the team can sell players and make that money, knock themselves out. That's how they see it. Yeah, when they first came in, that's what they were saying. You want to get a player, you need to sell players to get or bring youths up, sell them for a whole load of money, and then get the players that you want. And they've always operated like that, season in, season out.
Yeah,
so you're basically getting Glazer light now.
Yeah, well, come on, they're an American company, sports company. What more can you say?
Yeah, what about you on that one, Dave? Even though I've got the Newcastle game up on
I was
screen.
looking. Yeah, what are we talking about? We just went to Calcedo. What were we talking about before? I've lost track.
I'm just comparing Bellingham and
Scott's melted his
Caicedo,
mind.
the fact that they're the same price.
Yeah,
Which I find insane. And it's no disrespect to Caicedo. It really isn't. He is not as good as Jude Bellingham, though.
And he's definitely not worth more than Declan Rice. I mean, that's ridiculous.
No, he's not.
Statistically, Rice has been the best midfielder. Tackles, duels won, passes intercepted over the last 3 seasons since he was 21.
Gents, we've got to the stage where it's a seller's market.
Yeah, it's desperate.
They can ask what they want. And if a team wants a player, you have to cough up what they're asking for.
That's nuts, man. 100 million now to even
the
have a
thing
conversation.
Is, by the logic of what you've just paid for Declan Rice, and this happened with City when we bought Jack Grealish, but those two are both valued at more than what Rodri's valued at.
Yeah.
Not a chance in hell are even more important to a team.
Yeah, but why is that though? Why is that? Because they're British players.
No, not necessarily, Neil.
There is the English premium.
If Rodri went on the market now, he'd be 120 million.
No, but British players always go for a lot more than they're worth.
They do, but then
and teams are willing to pay.
Enzo. Look what Chelsea paid for Enzo.
But Chelsea will pay anything for anybody.
No, it's not about Chelsea. It's just the market demand right now.
Well, I think we do have to take Chelsea out of the equation on this one, simply because of the way they're structuring the deal for Enzo.
Yeah.
Because is it 8 years is over?
8 years, yeah.
So because it's structured over 8 years, it's not 110 million up front, is it? So it does inflate the market to a degree, but it's not an instant inflation of the market. It's a back-ended deal. I mean, American sports franchises do this all the time. But Enzo's deal didn't affect the market in the same way as, say, Declan Rice has, or what Caicedo will. And obviously Caicedo's done in the same manner with the back-ended deal. But where Declan Rice is almost entirely up front, that inflates the market probably more than what Enzo would have done.
Okay, guys, let's push on to Newcastle, Aston Villa. For me, this was a cracking result. It really surprised me. I think I went for Aston Villa in this game. Tony, Neil got it correct. Drew got this correct as well. I was way out on this game. I mean, Emery got it wrong. He got it wrong. And we remember when we were talking about he's a good manager, he's a great manager, and I said, no, I think he's second tier. I don't think he'll ever be up there with the upper echelon managers. This is probably one of them games where, because I saw this when he was an Arsenal manager, I saw this type of management where when the expectations are on him, he just completely capitulates. I mean, the high line was just uncalled for. It's going to cost him a whole heap of goals. He needs to tighten it up straight away. You can't go into places like this with that kind of mindset and play open free football the way he did. Bailey, Cash, Watkins, they had an awful game. You can't have 3 of your top players coming into a place like Newcastle and just not delivering. It was an absolute cracking result. What was your thoughts on this one, Dave?
I think Newcastle just showed that they're just continuing. They're just continuing on that trend. I think Tonali. I didn't know if Tonali would be able to cut it. If I have to be honest, not because he's not a talented player, but more so because the league, the physicality. But he looked good. Like their midfield now. Tonali, Bruno, and who's the big Brazilian lad? I can't remember his name now. I'm forgetting his name.
Joe Linton.
Joe Linton, yeah. It's a cracking.
Guimara.
Yeah, I mean it's a cracking midfield now, and they're only going to get better. The key to them is obviously Champions League football and the Premier League. So, I mean, great result. I didn't see it coming. There's no one could have predicted this, and with the Villa capitulation. But I mean,
I thought that. I clearly thought that Newcastle were going to win anyway, but to be honest, that bigger gap, I didn't think it was going to be that big a gap. I thought that Villa would have put up a bigger fight. That's what I thought they were going to do, and it just didn't work. But you can't sort of like on this one result, you can't kind of write Villa off or write Unai Emery off. This is just one of those results that happens. Yeah,
Mm.
Villa are still going to come good this season. They're still going to play well.
There's
I doubt
there's
that they're
still a
going to
top
keep
6,
getting.
top 7 team, regardless of that result.
Definitely. That's what I'm saying. Definitely. So
because that's the plan for them. If that's the plan for them. If Eddie Howe has gone to Newcastle and done what he's doing now, the expectations with guys in the position of Emery and De Zerbi and all them other guys is you got to do what Eddie Howe's done. You got to get us into that top 6, top 4. That's the plan. And so where he finished last year, Emery, is not going to be good enough. They're going to expect him to get into the top 4. I don't think that they're going to do it. That's the expectations now.
I think the top 4 is almost shut off because I think there are 5 teams at this very moment clearly above everyone else.
Mm.
If Liverpool and Chelsea get their acts together, there are 6 or 7 teams clearly above everyone else, and we've got a top 7.
I think we made a statement. I mean, but we'll crack on to us in a bit. But
yeah,
I think, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Anybody else wanted to say anything about that before we go on to Andy's game? Andy was running a little bit late today, guys. It's a shame because quite a few people got this one right. I got it right. Tony did. So did Dave, and so did Ian. They all got this one right. I wasn't surprised with anything I saw. The only thing I was surprised about was that there was actually more goals in it than I thought. I thought it was going to be 1-1 or 0-0. And seriously, I mean, Brentford.
Well, they both lost their talisman strikers, right?
Yeah, but my point was Brentford went up to Old Trafford and beat United 4-0 without Ivan Toney. They won quite a few games. Including the games they played against Spurs last season where they didn't have Ivan Toney. So Brentford are pretty much a sound team. Spurs, on the other hand, I was pretty surprised by Spurs, I have to admit. I thought they were going to lose this game. What about you, Drew?
So Spurs did deserve their draw. Andy will tell you that Spurs deserved the win. They absolutely didn't deserve to win, but a draw was a fair result. I think those Spurs are going to bounce back over the first 4 or 5 games of this season and actually have a really good run to begin the season. So I think the draw against Brentford was a good result. I think they're going to beat United this weekend and they're going to have a good start to the season, but they're still not going to finish above 10th.
No, I think the next sort of like 3 or 4 games for Spurs is basically for the players to either put up or shut up. They had a good showing against Brentford. I think they'll continue that. I don't think they'll be top 7, to be honest. I don't think unless those players like Son, Kulusevski still out, isn't he? He's still out.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, they need play. They definitely need him. They definitely need him.
Dave, last week when we were on the show, I talked about how big a deal James Maddison is going to be in that team. And he gets 2 assists in his first game.
Yeah, no, but I think we discussed this last week, almost the Maddison and Richarlison were kind of the preparation for letting Kane go. Not that I agree that both of them combined can do what Kane does. Kane's an excellent footballer in general, not just striker. As a pure footballer, being able to do everything that you want a striker to do, he can do it. You take him out of that Spurs side, and it's just, I think it could be. They're going to be exciting. I think Ange does play an exciting style of football and demands a lot from his players. But
I'm sorry, but Richarlison for me has always been a no-no, and I've never been impressed with him. Never been impressed with him. He'll probably make me shut my mouth this season. But he's just one player. I just think, what are you doing in the Premiership? And I don't mean to be funny, but he just doesn't impress me.
As a harsh statement, what are you doing?
I know, but
he
just doesn't impress me. You know, I'm not saying that he's not good enough to be in the Premiership. I just look at him at times and I just think, why are you?
Maybe he's better in Everton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, when you compare Spurs to Everton, there's no comparison realistically. So it's not like he's gone from Everton and gone to a worse team to make himself look even better against the players that's around. He's actually gone into a team where the players around him are better than him. Did they really need him? I don't think they really need him when they bought him, to be honest. But Andy will probably tell you, yes, they did, and he's one of the greatest players they've got. But I'm sorry, I
don't know if Andy's saying that. Do you reckon he's saying that?
Andy
to be fair, Andy
always
still
sticks
thinks
up
that
for his
Harry
players.
Kane's going to change his mind. So
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to like speak down at Richarlison because I'm sure. I mean to be like Brazil's number 9, and you got to be a good, decent player to get there, right? But he just does not impress me. I've never been impressed. I can't look at him and say he's one. He's a great player. I just don't see
I
it.
think it's
agree.
the ego
100%.
for what he's done. I think it's the ego that he exudes, that he's got for what he's actually
No,
produced
it's
as a
not
player.
the ego. I don't look at the ego. I look at what he does on the pitch, and how he helps the team. And when he was at Everton, I was not impressed. I just was not impressed. And he's now
I think
at
anyone's
Spurs.
impressed with Everton, to be fair.
No, it's quite easy to be impressive at
I
Everton when you look at the quality of players, right? I mean, they're still going. Obviously, everyone's still talking about Calvert-Lewin, that he's this great striker. But realistically, is he a great striker? He looks good at Everton, but would he look good in any other team? I doubt it, to be honest.
Again, and he played a couple of games for England, but I don't think England's calling for him now. I think he's done, mate.
He's not impressive enough.
He's not impressive enough, and he had
I think Theo Walcott's probably still above him.
Well, mate, look, he had a market value of 40 million. I don't think he's anywhere near that. I don't even think a team would even come in and buy him.
Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin, yeah, he had a
Really?
market value of 40 million. Yeah, not anymore, mate. He's not even worth half of that. Who would give you 20 million for Calvert-Lewin right now?
Do you know? Without being funny, I don't like sick note. I call him sick note Sturridge, right? I would rather have Sturridge in my team, than Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, 100%.
Sturridge was a much better footballer.
But he spent most of his season on the bench. On the bench.
My only issue with Sturridge, and I'm sorry, this does come down to the way he left for Chelsea now with Sturridge. He took the money instead of taking a little bit of patience and sticking with a team that could have turned him into a superstar.
Yeah,
dude, he did that.
It's no disrespect to Chelsea, but he went to a team to sit behind Drogba.
Yeah, but he did that because clearly he was betting at the time, and he knew that betting wasn't going to give him the money, right? So he had to subsidize that somehow.
I mean, to go in terms of comparison for Calvert-Lewin, I think he's comparable to like Carlton Cole. For me,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with
the
that.
comparison for me.
Carlton Cole probably had more natural ability, but in terms of career trajectory,
Yeah, you're no good to anyone if you're injured all the time, guys. You really aren't. So, I think it's time now that they need to stop talking about his talent, stop talking about his market value, and start talking about if he doesn't get himself sorted out in this season, he's going to be another Jack Wilshere. He's going to be one of the
we talk about his talent.
He needs to be a better team. That's what he needs. He needs a better manager.
But it doesn't matter where he is, Neil. He ain't going to play if he's. If he's
injured, he's not. Yeah.
Well, no. The thing is, his expectation level is up here, but his actual talent is down here.
Yeah,
he is a good striker. He's a good centre forward.
Did you hear what he said, Drew? We ain't seen him for 2 seasons.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, the thing is, like, we all know he can score goals, but what else? What else? When fully fit, he can finish a move off. But,
when fully fit, when is he fully fit?
Well, yeah, he never is. But he can't do anything else now, unless you are Robert Lewandowski. I don't care how good a finisher you are, unless you are scoring 30 plus goals a season like Lewandowski.
Yeah,
you're not in that upper echelon of number 9s.
I love that he didn't say Harry Kane.
But you can't bring any of those.
I can't put Harry Kane as a number 9 though, because what is Harry Kane? Is he a 9? He plays it as a 10. He basically does what he wanted to do for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, if you watch the Bayern Munich game tonight, he was everywhere again.
But this is what was funny: is they finally bought James Maddison. They finally got themselves a proper number 10. and then they sell him. I think that's hilarious as an Arsenal fan.
Mhm.
But Drew, do you want to tell me what your thoughts are? Because we got the two big boys down below, Chelsea and Liverpool. They're ready to talk about the game last week. So, what's your thoughts quickly? This was one of our big questions last week. You know, who would finish higher? I don't think this game really told us anything about the two teams. Drew.
No,
It told me at Chelsea are a lot further along than what I gave them credit for.
Yeah,
It told me
too.
that much.
Yeah, man.
I'll be fair, if Nkunku was fit, I think Chelsea could have nicked that game. Like, genuinely do. Liverpool. I have no idea what Liverpool's plan is at the moment.
The plan is a number 6. We need a number 6, and that's
Well,
where
you just signed one. Unfortunately, he's 45 years old.
But what I'm saying,
so
but what I'm saying, in that game, we didn't have a number 6, and it showed. I mean, going forward, we look great. We controlled the game for a bit. We did all right when we're going forward.
The thing is,
it's that gap at the back.
You've signed Endo. You've signed Endo, and he is actually a decent player.
Like a drug, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you've signed a decent player to replace Fabinho effectively. And I really hate admitting this, but Fabinho was amongst the 3 best holding midfielders in the Premier League for a couple of years.
So. Yeah, I thought so.
You've let him go to Saudi Arabia, and you've brought in.
We didn't say no to the money, man. Didn't say no to the money.
Yeah, but listen, they were playing Gallagher last week, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
which
it's
I don't think we're going to see a lot more of Conor Gallagher now.
You spent all this money, 900 million, and you end up playing a guy who went on loan to Crystal Palace and was on your.
The only thing that I don't get with this Chelsea team right now, and do you know what? I want them to prove me wrong with how they accommodate their new central midfield. I want them to prove me wrong, because all 3 of those players are exciting. In particular, Enzo and Lavia, I think they are wonderful players.
Yeah.
So I really want Chelsea to prove me wrong and absolutely jowl in the midfield.
Yeah, but Poch is still trying to find his best team, isn't he? I mean, look, he came to a team. He had a whole load of players that he probably thought, this guy ain't staying. I'm getting rid of him. He's not going to play. He's not going to play. He's not going to play. He must have had this long list.
They've got quite a bit more of outgoings that they need to do, but worry about that in January.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's see if they can establish their lineup now.
If you look at the season going forward with Chelsea, Poch is just going to work out his best 11, and he's just going to keep the interesting ones that he needs to finish out the team. But everyone else is going to go. January window, I reckon Chelsea will be selling.
I think the back 4 is sorted. The back 4 is sorted. What we saw last week, that is Chelsea's best back 4. Obviously, Reece James is going to be out for, is it 3 or 4 weeks now?
Yeah.
Which isn't great, but we all know full well Reece James is the best right back in the Chelsea squad, if not in the Premier League.
Yeah, he was injured a lot last season as well. We said last season if it wasn't for his injury, he would have been the pick of the bunch for we did our first 11, right? It would have been.
It's always the tie as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So Drew's given his thoughts. So they're going to move to the big men at the bottom at the moment. What I wanted to say to you, Dave, was for a team that hasn't sorted itself out in terms of the first 11 yet. They had 65% possession and they had double the amount of pass completions. They surprised me. I thought Liverpool were going to go in there. Liverpool, to be honest with you, I was a little bit underwhelmed by their performance, although I still see them scoring a lot of goals with the setup that they have. But Chelsea, top 4's the challenge for Chelsea now. I
think, scratch off the first 15-20. Because I think if that game's not at home, the game could get out of reach a little bit. You know, when we haven't got our fans kind of in the first game of the season buzz and things like that, it could, you can't start games like that, and especially against Liverpool. If it's at Anfield and you let one go in straight away, you can literally go down the pan. But in other than that, it was a good performance, and I think like Drew said, it showed that we were a lot further along than what people think. what I thought as well. I know we was playing well in pre-season, but it's pre-season. Like it's not a real marker of where teams are at. But I think that was kind of very much a full strength team for what we had at that moment in time. We've just added two more centre midfielders now. Enzo looks, like a player. That's probably one of the best games that I've seen from him in a Chelsea shirt as well. So yeah, I just think if we can get the front three correct, scoring, and again with Nkunku hopefully coming back at some point, I think top four's a possibility really. And I think again, when you spend almost £1 billion on players, you have to at least push for the Champions League. Yeah, but I mean, that's
technically it's only like 150 million though.
Yeah, I mean,
we've got to spread it out over the next 10 years.
Oh yeah, of course. Like it's mortgage here, isn't it? It's like
they've got the most expensive midfield in the league now.
But I think it sets us up for years to come as well. Like those three midfielders, Enzo, Lavia, and Caicedo, and then again you've got Gallagher there who can kind of swap in and out throughout games. We've got a team there for a long time now. It's just again, are they going to gel? Can they click? I think we've got a formula that we're set on, and injuries as well. Like obviously, Gusto's probably going to come in for James at right back. It's just, are things now going to click? And we just see what happens really. But I thought good performance.
What about you, Neil? It was really struggling for you guys to get something going because Chelsea looks so solid. Yeah,
but to be honest, I mean, we always kind of have a closest game whenever we play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Anyway, it doesn't matter what our form is going into the game. We just can't get the win. We've struggled over we did that last season as well. But it just shows that where we're lacking our strength in depth. Obviously, it's the number 6. We need a good number 6. Whether this Endo player will be good enough, we're only going to find out over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 games, whether he fits it in. Our midfield has always been the problem. It's always been the problem. And now Klopp has changed the way our defence plays by having Alexander-Arnold take that roving role between midfield and defence going forward. Great going forward. We always look good going forward. It's just that long ball over the top. If that defensive midfielder isn't there, we're screwed. And we keep getting caught out like that.
I think that's where you went wrong because, I'm a big fan of Cody Gakpo. You all know that. I'm a massive fan of him. He was being played out of position last week. Too many forwards, really, and not enough midfielders. So that's why they were losing the midfield battle. So for me, they're still vulnerable on set pieces, whether it's personal or tactics. Something's got to change there at Liverpool. And maybe, like Arsenal, we're in the middle of a massive tactical change because of Declan Rice.
Greg G's just made a useful comment on what it is. And it is a problem with the owners. I say less Klopp, more of the owners, because the owners are the ones who are giving him or not giving him the budget. So they're forcing him to go for, I mean, if they gave him the budget, as I said, we probably would have had Lavia. Definitely weren't going to have Caicedo. Had they given him the budget, we might have even had Bellingham, because you knew we were speaking to him. He was happy to go, but we weren't willing to spend the money. And until the owners, I mean, it's a business. Let's be real. Football's a business for a lot of teams. Yeah. The team itself has to be able to survive and run its own accountancy. Make sure the money's coming in from sponsorship, ticket sales, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And with the Americans, that's what they want. They want the business to run itself, not be able to dip their hand in their pocket and say, oh, well, you need this. There's a few, 20, 30 million towards a player. Go buy the player that you want. That's never going to happen with Liverpool. And that's why it's like, as you said, G, rinse and repeat. Every season it's been like that. It's not going to change now. It's never going to change. You know.
So we've all covered that, and now to the most controversial win of the week. Was
it controversial? Was it?
I'm so mad. Look at Drew's face. The penalty. I don't even want to talk about it, so I'm going to leave.
What penalty? There was no penalty.
You go to any other Premier League ground, and that is a penalty against any other team. Any other ground.
But
even at Anfield, that is given as a penalty against Liverpool.
What's his name done now? He's told that refereeing team they're not playing. They're not refereeing this weekend. I wonder why.
Stone cold, mate.
Come on, man. Look. I don't mean to be funny, right? But was that a boxing match? Was that wrestling? What were they watching? What was VAR doing? What was VAR doing?
Can I just point out, though, that in Onana's first game of pre-season at United, so his first appearance for United, he actually done the exact same thing in a friendly. So, I mean, we're starting to see here there is a definite lack of his technique when it comes to the high ball on crosses.
It doesn't matter whether it's a lack of technique or what, right? The main point is
lack of judgment is what I mean.
It's judgment, technique, whatever you want to call it, right? He's clearly going to keep doing it. Yeah. It's down to the law of the game to do something about it.
But you're forgetting the law of Old Trafford.
Exactly.
Obviously, the law of Old Trafford trumps the law of the refs. Yeah. Or maybe the refs are in their pocket. I don't know. Maybe we need to sort of like send an email to Fergie and say, "What are you doing, mate?" Because he's clearly still got some sort of influence, right?
Do you know what? Controversial. I do think like 10 years ago, no one would bat an eyelid over that. We would over that challenge. I think 10 years ago, before VAR, I don't think I think people go, "Oh, he's come to get it," or "Oh, he's misjudged it completely. It should be a pen," but I think it's something that we just bat over instead of going.
I think goalkeepers would all have been justifying it, but everyone else would have been going crazy about it.
No, he's right. David's right, because when you look at it, when you go 10, 15 years ago, right, refs had more control over stuff, and they didn't have VAR. Yeah, and because they weren't using instant replay and that sort of stuff, right? Refs were the divas of the game. Yeah, they let what they want to get away, and nobody said anything. Yeah,
and also
VAR's
as well.
Yeah, but VAR's coming to correct the mistakes that the refs have been doing over the years.
That's what it's there for. It's there to correct the mistakes.
Exactly, but yet the people behind VAR at Stockley Park clearly were doing something else at the time, because how can they not see Onana's hands?
More to the point, how can a referee less than 10 yards away not see it?
But guys, look, they did that.
It shouldn't even go to VAR.
Brentford versus Arsenal.
Yeah, right. But what I'm saying, and the same thing happened. Was it 2 seasons ago when Pickford took out Van Dijk? Yeah. Right. These keepers are allowed to do this sort of stuff, and it's not it's not something that you can say, "Oh, it was a mistake." Come on, we know that was blatant. Yeah.
Can I just be honest? Van Dijk was asking for it though.
No. You would say that, but he wasn't asking for it in that game. Yeah. Pickford should not have taken him out the way he did.
No, he should have done. He really should have done.
But and the thing is, he got away with it. That's what makes it worse. Yeah. VAR is supposed to be correcting and making sure, not just that, but other incidences that should be reevaluated, right? And it's not happening, and we see it game after game after game. What's the point of having VAR? Because it's clear the people behind VAR clearly aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but it does work more often than not. I mean, it seems to be the odd time like this where it just
but when it doesn't happen, the thing is, it doesn't happen quite a lot, right? Yeah. And you're talking about incidents that are blatantly obvious. You're not talking about incidents where the ref has missed it and Lions has missed it because there's a group of players that have blocked their vision.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
do have to say, Neil, there's nothing wrong with VAR. VAR works. It does.
No.
The problem is the person who makes the decision, not VAR.
And that's what I always say. It's not the technology; it's the people behind
It's
it,
the people
right?
behind it.
And as long as you've got a human interaction, right? VAR is always going to be making mistakes. It's
Yes,
always going to be wrong.
I'm going to make an admission when it comes to VAR now. VAR still makes the errors in the exact same way as what they used to happen. It is the bigger teams who still benefit the most from VAR's errors. I mean, to be honest, City probably picked up about 8 or 9 points last season from poor video assistant referees.
Well, we dropped
United probably got about 15, 16 points.
We dropped points. I think we were second on the VAR table. Yeah, Arsenal was second on the VAR table last season. We lost so many points from VAR, but you know, we were still there or thereabouts without it.
I think that they need to reevaluate the people they use for VAR, because clearly the referees, you need to have someone who's independent of the game itself.
Yeah,
because anyone involved in the game is making their own judgments, and clearly we have seen those judgments are totally wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you. Go on, Dave. Hold on. Let Dave go.
Just to kind of get off this, we know VAR's like whatever, you know, with it, the people decision making, it's just not, it's not correct, it's not accurate. I want to go on what Cam said in terms of Wolves actually on their counter. They look good.
Yeah,
it's just like to give them credit. I don't want to stick on like VAR too much when actually. Let's give a bit of credit to Wolves, who did actually look. They
did. To be honest, if they had someone up front to finish off their chances, because they had quite a few chances, and realistically, they should have been 3-4 up.
Balogun,
you know, by the end of the game. Yeah, well,
that's a shout. Maybe
he's not Portuguese.
Who have they bought?
Yeah, they're not Portuguese. Yeah.
Who have they bought?
Still got Fabio Silva. They still got Fabio Silva.
Yeah, he's come back.
Fabio Silva nearly scored a cracker as well.
Yeah. He went out on loan, didn't he? He went out on loan because he wasn't there last season, and he's come back.
Who have they bought? That's the problem.
But then again, I didn't realise that Mr. Traore had kind of gone off as well.
Yes.
His contract ran out, and he went on a free. And I think, hold on, this is a guy who's kind of key to what you do.
Okay, guys, listen, we're going to go through the quick hitters now for the predictions for next week. Drew, who are you going with Nottingham Forest Sheffield?
It's already finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll allow this one because I don't think anybody was going to.
Can I say 2-1 Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, I don't think anybody was going to go for Sheffield anyway on this one.
I've gone for a draw on this one.
You went for a draw on that one?
Yeah, on this one I've gone for a draw.
Okay.
I think I've got the right score, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You were bang on 100%. Considering the fact that you're leading the table at the moment.
I'm pretty sure I went like 9-0 or something like that.
Here we go. Right. Guys, what about Fulham Brentford?
I've gone for a draw with that one as well.
I went for a draw with that one as well.
I've gone for a home win, I think. I think I went 2-1 Fulham.
Right, so you've gone Fulham. What did you go on this one, Dave? Oh, David's blanked out of them for me.
Yeah, no, sorry. I've got to remember my picks. I can't remember what I sent you.
Yeah, I've got them down here.
I'm pretty sure I went away win. I think I went Brentford 2-1.
Where's Dave? Dave. Oh God, where is it? Here it is. I got it. Yes, yeah. You went. Yeah, that's right. You went for Brentford 2-1. So let me put a B here for you, guys. Liverpool, Bournemouth.
I've gone for a low win for Liverpool. Low score, 1-0, 2-1.
So you've gone for Liverpool. What about you, Drew?
I think I've gone for a Liverpool win.
You think?
I might have actually put a draw just to spite Neil.
What about you, Dave? On this one, you've gone for
Liverpool win 3-0.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
3-0.
And then Wolves, Brighton. I've gone for a draw on that one.
I've gone for a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I've gone for a draw as well.
I've gone for a Brighton win. Teams like Wolves, I can just see They're going to continue their current form. I think they'll win.
So you go for a Brighton win, yeah?
I've gone for a Brighton win.
I've gone for a draw as well. 1-1.
Yeah.
So I think they look good, Wolves. I don't see.
Yeah, but they've got no one to finish. They've got no one to finish. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I don't.
Well, they're at
I
home,
think they've
innit?
got no one to finish. They're at home as well. They're gonna have momentum. You got to pick up some. You got to pick up points somewhere, ain't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Spurs, Man United. I've actually gone for a draw on this one as well.
I've gone for a draw as well. I've gone for a draw.
Okay. What about you, Drew?
I've gone 2-1 Spurs.
Ooh,
Really?
that is so Spursy.
You sure that's not Andy? That's Andy. That's
Look,
Andy
right.
the top right, isn't it? That's Andy the top right, isn't
I don't want to back Spurs this season, but
Me neither.
it's against the Rags. So
Yeah.
I'm going to let them have it on this one. I think Spurs will beat United.
I would love to see Spurs beat United. I just can't see it happening. United are playing too good at the moment, unfortunately.
David's gone for Man United on this one.
Yeah, I just think
Ooh.
they're going to have a bit too much for Spurs. In my opinion, I still think Spurs are going to still trying to figure things out. I think this fixture might have come a bit slightly too early for Spurs.
So what we're saying is Spurs aren't actually as good as Wolves.
3-3.
I just don't think.
Yeah. And guys, our game of the week, which is going to be City against Newcastle, cracking game, finished 3-3 last season, and that was when teams didn't know who Newcastle were. You know, Newcastle were not a commodity last season.
Oi. Guess who's joined? Joined?
I've gone for a draw. Andy, I'm going to take all your picks in a minute, but I'm going for a draw on this one, guys. Where are you going for this one, Neil?
I've gone for a City win.
Ooh.
I've just gone for a City win. I know Newcastle they're going to do well this season, but
What about you, Drew?
He's definitely going to say City win, isn't he?
No,
Yeah, he is.
I've got a 2-all
You're
draw.
not. Really?
I've got a draw.
Same as me. Yeah.
Wow.
Go for, what about you, Dave?
3-1 City. Like every game should be City. Just don't even play the odds. You know what I mean?
Wow. If they do,
The
then
thing,
that would
if
be...
we didn't play Wednesday night and have a short turnaround, I would back City.
The excuse is coming in already.
Yeah. Who are you going for in this one, Andy?
I can see this being a draw. Low 1-1, maybe.
Yeah,
I think to be fair, I think it will affect City because of the people they've got missing. Like De Bruyne's not there, Gundogan's gone, Rodri's still great, but Kovacic and whoever else is going to play in there aren't the same level as Gundogan and De Bruyne. They might be very good, but they're not those two. And Newcastle do look strong early doors. I'm not sure how Newcastle will do when Champions League gets going, but now I think Newcastle could get a point at City.
And what about Fulham Brentford? Because we've already done that one. So where's your hearts on that Fulham Brentford?
I think Fulham might nick it. It could easily be a draw, but I will go for a narrow Fulham win, probably 1-0, something like that.
Liverpool Bournemouth.
Liverpool at home.
Yes.
3-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, it's Anfield, man. Wolves at home to Brighton. A lot of us has gone for a draw on that one.
I've gone for a Brighton win.
I could see it being low scoring. Again, maybe 1-1. I'll go 1-1 on that one.
Okay, it's another draw. And the other one is Spurs Man United. Spurs are at home.
Difficult because I can't back against my team, but I'm a little bit nervous about this fixture. But I think it's one of those. To be honest, you wouldn't be surprised any scoreline. It could be like 5-3 either way, or it could be anything. But I'll go for a 2-2. Obviously, I want us to win. But
am I the only person that actually backs Spurs to beat United?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Considering the conversation that we had in this stream, Andy's gonna have to rewind the stream to have a listen to that. Guys, Aston Villa versus Everton. I've gone for Aston Villa here.
Aston Villa win for me.
Yeah,
Villa easy.
And
Yeah,
that's Drew.
same.
Unless Calvert-Lewin makes a miraculous recovery and comes in and scores a double
the
hat
thing
trick.
is-
Looking like he's like going to come back like Cantona, like when he hits someone. Like
To Everton, he is. To Everton, he is. Trust me, man. To Everton, he is.
Jesus.
Everton
What
fans, I
about
should
you on
say.
this one, Andy?
2-0 Villa.
Can I just say one thing about Villa though? Last week against Newcastle, they weren't actually bad.
No, they weren't.
Newcastle were genuinely that good for most of the game.
Yep.
Villa, I think Villa,
First
I
half,
think
it
Villa
was
were
very
affected
even.
Villa were affected by Mings going off, I think, at the stage of the game that he did. I think that kind of affected their organisation a little bit.
Yeah, it really did. It really did. Guys, I've gone for a Chelsea win here. Where are you guys' hearts at? Could be a draw,
Yeah,
to be honest.
begrudgingly, I've gone for a Chelsea win as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I've put. I think I'd had a couple of Pinots last night, and I think I might put West Ham.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It's not an easy place to go and win, mate.
No.
In fact, you know what? I'm changing my prediction to a draw.
Wow.
The thing is, if Chelsea are going to slip up against these mid-table and lower-table teams, it will be early in the season.
Yeah, but hey, mate, they finished 12th last season.
Well, but they can't play themselves. That's the good news.
Yeah.
I'm going Chelsea on this one.
Right,
Yeah.
you're going Chelsea.
I went Chelsea as well.
Yeah, you went Chelsea as well. Yep. What about you, Drew?
Not with my heart, but with my mind.
I'm going to go with a draw.
Yeah, that's what I've done.
The disrespect here is unreal, isn't it?
I've said that you're going to come good later in the season.
Yeah. Hey, listen, mate. West Ham's not an easy place to go to, regardless.
You've only got to get fifth to get Champions League, so you're good.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Fifth now,
And the last game, guys, is Crystal Palace, Arsenal. Obviously, I've gone for an Arsenal win there.
Arsenal win. I reckon.
Neil's
it'll
gone
be
for
an Arsenal win.
Arsenal. Andy,
Draw.
draw. Drew.
He's gonna say that anyway.
I actually can't remember what I put.
Had too much to drink last
He
week.
has way too much to drink, Andy. I mean, Drew.
I'm gonna go for I put an Arsenal win because I think I probably did begrudgingly.
What about you, Dave?
I mean, I want to say draw now, but I put an Arsenal win.
Excellent. That's it, guys. And by the way, guys, Dave leads the chart with 9 predicted out of 10 games. That is brilliant.
Well,
I think, yeah, the only
Wait, why
one
aren't
he
you
got,
playing Super Six?
Well
the
done.
only one Dave got wrong was Newcastle Aston Villa.
Wow.
okay.
Yeah. So
What,
You know
what are you
all
going to
right.
give out? Are you going to keep a running score over the season on this?
Oh yeah, I
who's
am.
what?
I've got my
Okay.
Excel. Let me know, guys, if you want me to show you my Excel sheet. I've done so much work with it, man.
That almost sounds like a really, really weird flex, or maybe a pickup. Do you want to see my Excel? Well, now you come to mention it. I've had a few wines tonight, so
Right, guys. Any other subjects before we close out tonight? Yeah, Ashley, we need to hear from Andy. Andy, what was your thoughts on last week's games before we shut off? Because you haven't really had your say. What stuck out from you last week?
Well, I think the standout performance was obviously Newcastle beating Villa. I mean, actually, if you watch the first half an hour, it was a really good game, both teams going at it, and Villa were well in it and playing their part. Then I think Mings got injured, and I think that affected them a little bit, and they sort of fell apart a bit. But they were Villa were much more open than I've seen usually under Emery's teams. Aren't normally that open.
Yeah.
But they themselves, I mean, Villa could have had 4 or 5 themselves and didn't take the chances. So I mean, I think the scoreline was, a bit flattering towards Newcastle, but then they could have had 8 or 9, to be honest. So
because I said Bailey, Watkins, a couple of players, they just didn't turn up.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean that was obviously the standout performance. But I mean, I thought the Liverpool-Chelsea game was quite intriguing to see how Liverpool desperately need another midfield player in there, I think. But Szoboszlai looked really good. I thought he was very, very good on his debut. I couldn't for the life of me understand why he didn't pick Núñez. I don't get why you've got Darwin Núñez on the bench.
Bonkers. He's on my fantasy team. And when I saw that, I got rid of him straight away and swapped him out for Alexander Isak. I was like, Liverpool, you ain't going to do that to me again, man. Started in my fantasy team and they don't even play him. Nah, I can't deal with that.
To have Salah, Jota, Diaz, they're all small, quick, tricky little players and they're all very good. But I just think that they could have mixed it up a lot. If they'd have put Núñez in there, knocking the Chelsea's defence centre halves about a bit, I just think it would have given Liverpool more options personally.
He will. Klopp will do that. You'll see more of a rotation with the front three because we've got six players literally.
Well, I kind of need to see Darwin a little bit more often because I've got 25 quid on him to score 20 plus goals this season. So
he ain't gonna do it on the bench.
One sec. Jurgen, did you hear that, Jurgen? Yeah, Jurgen's watching. Yeah. He's watching the stream. He's watching the stream.
Can you only speak to him in his native tongue? So broken English/German, please.
Excellent. And before we leave, Andy, let's get your thoughts on the big game, which was Chelsea versus Liverpool.
I've basically told you what I thought about that. I thought it was a good game. I think Jackson will come good for Chelsea. That's quite useful to me. I think they're going to they've suffered with Nkunku getting the injury, and I understand that Reece James is injured as well now, isn't he?
He is injured. Yeah. He is injured. And by the way, I can confirm, Colin at the ground, London Coney today told me that Chelsea and Tottenham on Friday, which is today, both had called to inquire about Balogun. And what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I know Tottenham are interested. I personally don't think he's what we need, but okay. I'm not sure he's going to be the answer in the Premier League. Because if he was, he'd be playing for Arsenal. I don't, you know. Well, he's decent. I'm not knocking the kid. He's a decent player. I don't think he's the answer to Spurs' problems, to be honest. Yeah. But we'll wait and see. I mean, I personally, I would hold fire and hold our money and go for Tony in January. That is what I think we should do. But I quite like the idea of this Gift Orban, who's been banging them in for Ghent in Belgium. Apparently, we're very interested in him, but Levy obviously only wants to offer a packet of Cadbury's buttons again. So I don't know whether we'll actually end up getting that done.
Andy, just think, you know, Kane used to be in the Arsenal kit, went across to Tottenham, club legend. I mean, Balogun, could it happen?
It could. I mean, he got 21 goals last season.
Kane was one of our own. I've got to say was now rather than is. Do you know Kane scored and assisted tonight for Bayern Munich?
Yeah, we were talking about it. Yeah, we were talking about it. I actually this week was the first Kane interview that I sat down and enjoyed. I saw the interview when he said bye to Spurs fans. I thought, yeah, let me get my cookies and my milk and enjoy this interview.
And your popcorn.
Listen, after I said to myself, I actually like this bloke now. I think this bloke's all right.
Well, I think I said it in the chat earlier.
He's wearing red now, Apollo.
Yeah, I know.
You would do. Can I give a quick shout out to a person who's going to be the greatest England manager in history? Come online, this is on Sunday. Yeah, come online, this is on Sunday. Spigman, do it. Because who else has won back-to-back or had the chance to win back-to-back championships, Euros and the World Cup?
In the women, she's won the last three, and she's on the verge of winning because she won the Euros and the World Cup with the Netherlands, and then she won the Euros with England, and she's on the verge of achieving quite a remarkable.
The funny thing is, on Sky Sports, they've now been talking about her taking over the men's team.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's not
well,
gonna
yeah.
happen.
To be honest, too chauvinistic. We're too chauvinistic. We know that's never going to happen. But she'll be the
Look,
greatest She'll be the
guys,
greatest English manager if she wins the World Cup.
Guys, let's remember the women US team was boasting about how they can play a men's team. They went to Michigan and played a under 16s team that beat them 7-0.
Yeah.
That's the US women's. So a lot of this
Can I
talk
just point
about-
out that wasn't the first choice United States women's team.
7 of them were starters on that team in that game. Actually, what I'll do is I'll send you the video and you can see the video yourselves.
I'm not watching it.
They played 3 games. It was like a tour of the US women. They played
I'm not
games,
watching it where they call it soccer.
They were outscored 24-1 in those 3 games.
That's where they go wrong. That's where they've gone wrong.
Yeah.
Where's Bertram?
It hasn't been on this show for quite a while, which is strange because he does finish work at 10. So yeah,
He's probably watching the stream.
No, it's
Right.
not that. But guys, remember Bertram does streams for Jamaican national team as well, and they normally clash with our streams.
He's running
Yeah.
scared.
All right, guys, listen. Have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy the weekend's worth of football, and I'll see you guys next week, man. Thanks everybody in the chat.
Cool.
Big up.
Have a good one, people.